Good evening, everybody, and welcome Style Esports Season 4 playoffs, the second day of them. Coming your way right now, we've got a best-of-3 between Team Death Realm and the Holy Divers, the second-seeded matchup in the Piltover group. This should be quite a good series. Both teams 4-2 in the regular season, trying to make it towards that finals, looking to win the group and potentially promote in those promotion relegation matches. Should be a good time. It is Merlin Mondays as well. I'm Jarl Carl alongside its namesake. It's Merlin.
Woohoo, let's go, guys. All right, we got a nice semifinal game in my old division, Piltover. I gotta say, I'm a fan of the Holy Divers. Might have to place a little wager in the chat in a minute, but so far we've got some early bans coming out targeting ADCs with both the Caitlyn ban and for Team Death Realm and a Jinx ban for Holy Divers. Really like the Kate ban. If blue side with first pick has the opportunity to kind of power pick a Caitlyn, I think that can be just a really strong pick at almost all stages of the game. Yeah, she's kind of got a weakish mid game, but she's really dominant early game. And if she gets fed, she just approaches that late game super fast. Hits like a truck, really hard to handle. So for red side, I think that Kate ban is quite smart. Also, they did nerf her last patch, but it was such a minor nerf. None of her damage, just her movement speed. So I think that could be a sharp ban. Coming out, first pick, we have Vlad, which I think is a bit of an unusual first pick. I don't think Vlad is any danger of being contested. He does have counter picks. So I don't know that I would necessarily put the kind of priority that TDR is putting on that champ. Their mid lane even has other mid laners that he plays more than Vlad. Thoughts, Carl?
A little bit puzzling. I don't hate the pick. I do agree. I think it's kind of an unusual first pick. I don't think it's necessarily an unusual pick, but in that first pick spot, a little bit strange. I want to tangent back to what you said about the wagering, because that has now been started in the chat. So you can type !bet HD for Holy Divers or !bet TDR for Team Death Realm, followed by the number of style points that you would like to wager on this game. And then you might get some points back at the end if you do pick that correct winner. So let's see, Merlin already going for the Holy Divers. So if anybody wants to bet for TDR, there will be a prize pool at stake then at the end. But just a little promotion there. We're trying to get those style points a little bit more out there for you folks. So be sure to use those, and we'll try to answer some questions in the chat if you do have them. But back to this draft, it is developing rapidly. We got some tanks coming through, Merlin. We got a Shen, we got a Trundle, who will be a tank when he ults the Sejuani, and it's Mordekaiser time. Merlin, tank meta in full force.
I don't know. So Trundle is a fantastic jungler in certain scenarios, and some of the conditions are being met. He wants to have someone like an Ornn, or admittedly, the Sejuani, who has like an incredible amount of tank stats that he can steal and cut through. So I do like it for that. Shen, on the other hand, you really want to have kind of dive, someone who can go in, somebody that needs shielding. So they're really going to have to like prepare that on the back half since the bot lane has not yet been chosen. I think it is a very strong kind of meta pick right now. But So I guess I like the Shen more, and the Trundle I'm kind of wait and see on. One of the big things that Trundle counters very well is immobile mages in the mid lane. So if you have like a Xerath or a Syndra or an Orianna, if he lands a pillar on the correct side, it almost guarantees a flash burn. That said, I feel like it's pretty rare to see Trundles camping mid lane. It is definitely like a very short lane. So it'll be interesting to see who Holy Divers puts in the mid lane, what champion they take. They do have a Mordekaiser top lane, and that does open up stuff like AD mid laners, a Talon, Kiana. So I think they've got kind of a nicely flexible mid counter, and because they are on the red side, they do have counter pick. So they can counter pick the mid lane and then grab a supporter ADC to go with Senna, with the full draft in full view.
Absolutely, indeed. I appreciate everything you just said, Merlin. But it looks like we're gonna have to remake the draft here. So we're gonna be basically starting over. Speed Boost One Trick has joined the lobby. Finally woke up from a nap, apparently, and has replaced Escanor in the middle of the draft. So as per the admin decision, Holy Divers have requested a start over to the draft. So we're going to be just starting over from zero. So we're going to, I think, step aside for about 60 seconds as we get this all sorted out. And then we'll be right back with the new draft in just a little bit. Unless they already started, actually. Tell a lie. They already started. I don't know if we can switch over mid-draft potentially. Can we do that? A little voice in my ear advise on whether we're allowed to, whether you can get the new link in time there, sir. Apparently we have the new draft. There's no break, folks. We're right back into the action. Merlin, we're starting over.
Okay, here we go. I feel like maybe the league needs to look at the rules regarding people joining in the middle of picks and bans on stream. Come on, guys, get it together. So we're looking at the same picks and bans so far. We've got Kate ban, but now Pyke, because I guess Speed Boost is the support, and they have a different champ pool to counter to ban. It's probably going to be Zach Thresh on the same of TDR, because Holy Divers did not change their comp in the middle of the draft. So, I think that's fine. But yeah, if I lose my bet, I'm gonna call this like change in player as the reason why I lost my points.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a valid thing to do to me, Merlin, but Holy Divers running down the clock. I would imagine most of the draft will be the same. Just that Pyke ban for now, really that real wrench that was thrown in there with Speed Boost joining the draft, but not too much time is lost. At least we didn't, get partway through the game and then everybody started complaining. Fortunately, that did not happen, but TBR, not really sure what they're thinking about. Nothing changed on the other side. I mean, maybe they're going to change up, who you're going to ban based on matchups in the support role, but that seems like 1,000 IQ. They actually ban away their own first pick. Merlin, break this one down for me.
I think that we hopefully are not going to look at a third draft, but I have no idea why you would ban your power pick right off the bat. I don't know. This might be some next level strat. Maybe we can interview TDR after the game and find out what was going through their mind as they banned the player they chose first pick in the previous attempt to draft. So we do have the Shen. The Shen is solid, good, blindable, impacts a great deal of the map at many phases of the game, and is a strong solo laner in his own right. I still like that first pick. And then we're going back to the Senna. What is your take on Senna? I feel like this is more frequently a ADC Senna these days, at least in pro play. What do you think?
I agree. I think Senna is in a support position just a little bit too weak right now. I like the Senna AD carry a lot. I like Senna significantly more against a melee support than against range support. Certainly if you're going to go in the support role, even in the AD carry position, I think against melee support, Senna is a lot better. I wouldn't, I wish you could filter the win rates in some way like that. I think it would be a lot higher. You get way more souls with the melee support because you're able to get that double auto attack free soul off is a huge portion of her souls, especially when she is that AD carry position. She's farming, and so not able to get the souls off of every cannon, off of a lot less creeps because she is getting that last hit. So I think if there's a double range matchup here for TDR in the bot lane, something like that Ashe and a Lulu, some kind of enchanter support. Lucian Braum, I actually don't like this pick here. I think it's a good power pick. You can go for the kill, but if you don't execute a lot of kills early, this Senna is going to get a lot of souls. I would have preferred to see an enchanter support and a little bit more scaling here, or even something like a Zyra Khan. You still have that kind of range support. They're not somebody that wants to get in Senna's face because this will allow her to farm up very well.
Right. I haven't been impressed with Senna ADCs. The itemization is very strange, relying on souls. I feel like she's kind of more of a utility ADC than someone who deals out immense amounts of damage. So I don't really think of her in the same league as like an Ashe or a late game Kate, Jinx, stuff like that. We do have a Mordekaiser coming out on top, so they did like that Mordekaiser Shen matchup. I don't think it's like cake for a Mordekaiser. Obviously, he's going to be very impactful and he's very strong post 6, but I don't think Shen is someone that you can easily push over. And I think Shen does present some kill pressure topside, particularly if he has any jungle help. Trundle would be pretty useful against a Mordekaiser, given his immobility and the long lane. If Shen can kind of get a freeze outside his tower, they could potentially make something happen there. Coming in with final bans, Holy Divers has yet to select their mid laner, and it looks like it's being targeted with the Sylas ban. We'll see what else they choose to ban, the Twisted Fate as well. Then we have an engaged support with the Senna with the Nautilus.
I'm a little confused by that. I don't think they really fit together that well. Enchanters don't really go with Senna either. Mages is something I kind of like a lot with Senna. Something like a Bard, even like the kind of that in-between mage status. A little bit stronger damage than Enchanters, a little bit less damage than something like a Xerath. Nautilus is still fine. You can go for fight. Senna has a lot of early damage. We also may see the Lucian go mid lane and a different AD carry in the bot. Lucian mid is something we've seen a lot recently. I would suggest no. and I am then proven right, just because it is that Braum, right? Lucian Braum synergized so well, able to proc the Braum stun very, very quickly with Lucian's double shot passive. Light Slinger on that one. So I like the comp so far from TDR. I think Cassiopeia, very strong mid laner. We see her banned away a lot. Shen, arguably the strongest top laner right now after those shield buffs came through. Lucian Braum, not really super high in the priority, but neither is Sen and Nautilus. It's not like they're up against Caitlyn, against the Caitlyn Morgana, against an Ashe Lulu, something like that. They're against, you know, a little bit lower tier pick as well. And so I think Lucian Braum, they can pop off very hard in this lane if Sen is getting hit by those Qs from Braum. At the same time, I don't love the Talon pick from Holy Divers. I think this is a team for HD that just looks a little bit incohesive to me. They don't really have a strong front line. They don't really know what they want to be doing. And for me, I think the TDR comp is a little bit more straightforward.
I totally agree. Yeah, you've got the Mordekaiser top side, and that means you can pick an AD mid, but Cassiopeia is not super easy for someone like a Talon. She often runs Conqueror, and she's got her root and heals and deals a lot of damage with her E. So, you know, if you get behind on that Talon, it's going to be pretty difficult to get a hold of that Cassiopeia. Again, no front lane on Holy Diver, so I just don't know that you're going to survive Set, Shen, Braum. Set, Shen, Braum is like a fantastic front line. I really like the Set pick. And yeah, Elise is a fantastic champ, a good diver, but you're not going to dive the Shen. It's going to be difficult to dive the Braum. So maybe she can kind of get a lot of work done mid with Cassiopeia, who's kind of immobile and at least slow to start. But late game, I'm really liking TDR's draft. I'm a little worried about my 500 style points. Come on, Holy Divers, you got to pull this one out.
Yeah, I mean, the style points are on the line. I also just bet 1,000 points on Holy Divers, although it must be said, I did try to bet on TDR because I thought they were the team that was on the red side. Or I thought the Holy Divers, I don't know what I thought. I thought the teams were switched and Holy Divers had the Lucian Braum comp. They don't, so I guess I'm just cheering for the underdog in my mind. For here, I think TDR has a stronger team comp. I think they have winning lanes, probably in all 3 lanes, at least in terms of priority. Mordekaiser's not going to be punishing Shen, I don't feel at all. Lucian Braum always has priority, essentially, just because they have so much threat. And Cassiopeia, if she lands the root or the ground onto Talon with the Miasma, he's not going anywhere. Talon's just stuck. You know, half of Talon's abilities are mobility spells. And if you take those 2 off the table, that's not very useful. I think Cassiopeia could punish him very hard, especially before that level 6 comes through.
I don't think before 6 it'll... She's kind of short on mana, and she doesn't have a lot of wave clear, believe it or not. I think Talon will actually have priority early. I just don't know what he's going to be able to... what he's going to do with it. He either needs to get like a coordinated roam topside with Shen, with Elise onto the Shen, or a coordinated gank on the bot side. But those lanes, they're not super easy to gank, and a lot relies on him getting something done before... Cassiopeia loads up with Tear or Catalyst and has the mana to kind of keep up with the wave clear. I feel like early game, you could argue that HD maybe has first 2 Drakes, but they've really got to get a lot of picks, I think, or Mordekaiser has to pop off. We're going to have to see something special out of HD. Just based on the comps, it does look like TDR drafted a really strong, smart comp. You know, it's great to run 3 tanks. 3 tanks kind of feels great. You just sit behind them. Everybody can kind of live for a long time. But you really need to be able to dish out damage with that kind of comp. And who better than like a Lucian Cassiopeia? Cassiopeia, one of the hardest scaling champs in the game, does incredible amounts of damage, even with like 1-2 items, so long as it's kind of in time. So I really think that that's a really nice 3-man comp. Set with a lot of true damage, can build tank and still deal damage. And Braum, I guess there's not a lot of huge ults that you would block with his shield, but still a very tanky champion. And I really love the Braum Lucian CC. I hope we see a lot of action bot lane and they're able to kind of get in on the Senna or harass the Nautilus.
I think we will see action in the bot lane. I think it's hard to imagine that we won't. Honestly, just coming through from this lane, Nautilus wants to be going in, and so does the Lucian Braum. They're a lane that needs to get ahead.
They swapped. They swapped. It's Lucian mid.
I'm not as excited about this game as I was a minute ago. I'm also not as sold on the teams. I think maybe I agree. I think in the early couple of levels, Cassiopeia does have mana problems against Talon, and there is that risk. But when did they switch? Actually, also
they switched with 20 seconds to go.
Okay, so they
could just
follow the rules.
they could be just switching champs and not lanes.
We're gonna find out in about 2.5 minutes when the spectator delay is gone. I don't like the I assume it's the Castillo bot. There are in order, and I don't know why you would switch if it wasn't supposed to just be a surprise, right? Because it was pro drafted, so they were just picking their own champions, and then they switched. So a little bit interesting here from TDR. I don't like the Cassiopeia bot at all against Sentinelist. I think it's really, really slow.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, Shadow Mustangs, we have players that play a bunch of different roles or champs. So once in a while, we'll have someone with expertise on a champ switch into mid lane and I'll go bot. I think this might just be one of those situations where the ADC knows Cassiopeia and is going to go mid, and the mid laner knows Lucian and the ADC doesn't, so he's going to go bot. I think that because why would you not run Braum Lucian? Braum with the passive that allows you to stun after you get 3 hits works perfectly with Lucian, who has a double tap passive after using an ability. That combination is just incredibly strong and makes like a ton of sense. So I really don't think we're going to see a Lucian mid lane. Plus, that's like a very favorable Talon lane. I mean, if Talon gets a hold of you, it's over.
I'm not sold on anything that's going on right now for this off of this switch. I think it just doesn't make any sense to me, realistically, why you would want to go for this switch. Those were both lanes that I think had potential, and without them having potential, I think you're in a lot worse place. I think this draft got a lot worse given the fact that Cassio is going to be on the bot lane. Right, I don't know. Maybe that's maybe that's too bold of a prediction.
Looking at Azodium's games, he has 6 games this season in ranked on Cassiopeia and less than that on Lucian, if he has any. And Manamian Rocks has no games on either in his top 10 most played champs. It's confusing, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is confusing. We're going to sort out our confusion while we get into the loading screen and load on to the Rift, but we'll be back on the Fields of Justice in just a couple of minutes with game number 1 in this semifinal. We'll be right back. Welcome onto the Rift, everybody. We are loaded up and ready to go here. Level 1s could be coming out in full force. Everyone on the map right now is level 1. That is something you don't see too often, everybody being the same level. So something mysterious must be going on. It's Merlin Mondays. I'm Yellow Carl alongside Merlin.
Let's do this, guys. So we do have a level 1 counter stack at the bot Tri-Brush. I love it. We've got Nautilus, so you can kind of expect that hook. We got Set getting the forward ward to make sure they don't come from the other angle. He needs to get to that Tri-Brush really fast.
God.
And we have the sneaky route. The sneaky route means you come along the bottom brush and you pull in and you give the opponents about 60 less units. Here we go.
Here we go. Wards of the Wish. They do see them all. The fight is going to commence. Everybody's going for the fast fingers, and if it's slow, you could be going down. First blood in favor of Missing Link, but he does fall in the exchange. Extended fight going to go in favor heavily of the Holy Divers. 2 kills picked up. Only the 1 traded back. Azodium going down as well as Lotus. Both solo laners do die. The fight going to continue, though. The Facebreaker, Manrock's trying to get himself away. Is able to do so. A lot of fighting. A lot of summoners blown by Holy Divers, but they do come out on top.
Was a good engage, and you've got to calculate those level 1s. When you stack like that, you should have the advantage. You should be able to win. And Braum with Winter's Bright instead of Unbreakable, I feel like they just didn't really commit everything they had to that setup. So the kills go over. We've got 1 on the Mordekaiser who went back and got a Dark Seal, and 1 on Senna, who's getting a Sapphire Crystal to start. Not a huge combat summoner, but will be stronger. And Talon made it back to mid lane in order to pick up the first wave. So 700 gold lead, not just in pocket, but actually in items spent. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out, but that's a nice start by the Holy Divers. We didn't talk about it, but we do have Lucian mid going up against the Talon. Once Talon hits level 3, he is going to be very dangerous. And we have a Cassiopeia Braum, not particularly synergistic. I don't believe that she's going to be able to proc Braum passive the same way Lucian is.
Taking a lot of damage, though. These are the souls going over as well, Merlin. You can see the pressure Missing Link has that they wouldn't have against that Lucian Braum lane. I really don't like this for a lot of reasons. I got a lot of points I was trying to make here. I also want to talk about the level 1. I think just everybody has AoE except for Rare Candy on the side of Holy Divers, and I think that really turned the tide in that fight. Right, you have the Spiderling from Elise, you have the AoE Q from Missing Link, the W from Young Walrus, Phantom going off on the Mordekaiser with the mace as well. Just a not quite as coordinated fight for TDR, I think, on the back foot. Weren't quite as much expecting it. As for this bot lane, this matchup, this Senna is going to have a field day farming up stacks on the Braum. The Cassio just can't punish as favorably as a Lucian can, diving in for that one. Also, Cassiopeia, very weak level 1. Level 2 obviously is a lot stronger with the passive, or with the poison and the Twin Fangs, but with only the Twin Fangs or the poison level 1, just not as strong in that invade. So a couple of reasons potentially that Holy Divers were able to come out on top. Professor Bard is now in the bot lane. Missing Link has to flash, but he doesn't have it available from that level 1. Exhaust goes down onto him. That's that Summoner Delta that we talked about a little bit earlier. Missing Link goes down. Rare Candy going to walk himself away.
Nice gank by Set. Did burn Flash to be able to get in on that. Quite frankly, I think if that had been a little more coordinated, they could have had 2. The pathing was really good and everybody was there. As we have a little bit of a gank by Elise.
Yeah, who's ganking who though? Stolen takes quite a lot of damage.
Nice play by Azodium, knowing that the jungler isn't in position and can't really do anything against you. Might as well try and get that trade damage back. I will say, Mordekaiser, not known for a super strong early game. But he has been doing very well against this set with the little bit of extra gold that he was able to get. I believe he's only down 3 CS, but he's got a wave. So once he clears that, he'll be up a little bit. But this is a fantastic start to someone who does scale really well and has a lot of impact on the game.
Indeed. Impact on the game is, of course, at the end of the day, what it's all about. Who cares if you're 0-10 if you've killed the enemy Nexus? And I think we can all agree on that. Inters everywhere are celebrating what I just said. Anyway, gank in the top lane. Stolen going in. Was the Cocoon going to land? No, goes wide by about 25 degrees. Lotus just going to kind of stretch his legs as he walks himself away. Not too much effort required to escape.
That was a really, really terrible combination. First of all, Mordekaiser used his pull before Elise got there. You want to sync things up, and Elise came in on spider form, got close before whiffing the cocoon. I don't know. I feel like she even came for a repeat gank, which I actually like. I like the repeat gank, but unable to make it happen. And here we have Set taking Crab when he should be kind of forcing that gank. It looks like he still can.
He might go over the wall with Hex Slash.
Yeah, like
they
right now.
Rare Candy could be in trouble here. He has Flash available. Just flash over the wall. Say see you later. Mikey pulled him with the face breaker. Everyone's just kind of walking right now. I think you got to just commit to the flash over the wall. Mr. Rare Candy getting it grounded though. Takes some damage, but does get himself away.
Yep. I think it's lucky that they didn't lose more there. But that does give them enough priority to pick up first Drake with Illusion rotating down.
Does indeed. Sorry, Merlin. They got a bit of a vacuum cleaner going on in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. But I do apologize if anyone is hearing the vacuuming going on. But over the wall, Zodium could be in trouble. Exhaust goes down. It might not be enough. Flash auto attack for the passive. Young Walrus coming up big with kill.
Really nice kill by the Talon. This is going to be a really volatile mid lane. Once you get behind a Talon as a squishy, it's really hard to kind of stay on top. He just picked up a kill. Lucian burned exhaust, died with flash, which is a little unfortunate. And Talon's going to be able to pick up an additional wave, one plate, and hopefully, and you know, he's just so slippery, it's easy for him to kind of get a safe recall. So really nice work by the Talon. And I'm going to be interested to see if he can transition that lead into more kills mid lane and then maybe start rotating for Drakes and such.
Death Realm popped in the top lane, trying to make Lotus live up to his own team's name. I think he might be doing so. One more auto attack should be enough to secure the kill. The flash away. Flash to follow. Is the mace on the head? Yes, it is. Danny Phantom coming up big with the kill.
Nicely done. I'm not even sure he needed to use the flash there.
Not entirely sure he did it either, but we got more fighting going on. Professor Bard is going to have to just wait out that repel. Stolen smites him, getting himself away. A little bit of bot priority right now for TDR. They could be arriving first to this fight. Missing Link has arrived, though. W goes a little bit wide. 4 versus 4. Once all members are accounted for, Rare Candy now joining the fray. Young Walrus zoned off. Doesn't have ultimate. Going to have to just parkour his way over the wall. The culling did go a little bit wide. Miasma as well. Not going to fight anything. Missing Link way out of position. Going to have to flash over the wall. Most likely you have to feel, yes, he does commit to that early. You do like to see that. But not a great fight there for the Holy Divers. Not a lot lands.
I feel like it was a very strange fight where people were like way closer than you need to be in order to engage, and yet nothing really happened. I think Talon could have gone on the Lucian. He was kind of hidden in the fog of war and could have jumped on him, but he didn't. He just threw Rake and that was it. Maybe he needed to go by and spend the money from the kill. He now does have Sarah to Dirk and Tiamat, so he'll be doing a lot more damage with the penetration against Lucian's pickaxe Sapphire Crystal. Top side, Danny Phantom really getting a lot done.
Yeah, he's just running over this lane right now, Merlin, and it's not looking great. If you are Lotus, I thought this lane would go much more in favor of Shen. I feel like Shen's just really strong right now, but if you get on the back foot, it can cause a lot of trouble. Dredge lane goes wide. You got to wait for the root to come down, my good sir. Speed boost trying to get himself away. Repel from that one, but the Stand United is on the back as well. Stolen that flash is not going to get him anywhere but the Death Chamber. The teleport very late from Danny Phantom, but he is going to join. Claw goes out, missing everything. Very miscoordinated, I do feel, there by HD. They lose one kill.
Yeah, that was way too late at TP. I mean, look at the wave position. Danny Phantom could have pushed that wave completely in, picked up a little more CS, a little more XP, maybe taken a plate if he wanted to, but as it is, Shen perfectly timed ult roam and able to TP back to lane in time to catch the wave. That's exactly what you want. In the meantime, because they successfully defended that bot gank, Set is already on Herald topside, which gives him first Drake and first Herald if they're able to complete it. Talon does have priority. I just wish he would roam and try and impact the map. Checking out the status of Herald would have been useful in that scenario, but you know, he's got to make something happen with his 10 CS lead, kill 2 assists.
At some point, that's the plan with Talon, right? Because he's not going to be solo carrying the game all by himself, right? He's going to have to get other people ahead. That is why you play those assassins in the middle and you get ahead and then transition that lead across the map. Hasn't done so quite yet. Just now going to steal the red buff away. That's going to be annoying for Professor Bard. I would like to see him transition this into the bot lane for a gank there, like you were just calling for. I think that would be a very strong play for him. Meanwhile, we're going to have to fight in the top lane. Into the Death Realm, though. Lotus taking a lot of damage. Dawning Shadow comes across as well. The Shen is now dead. Professor Bard trying to flash himself away. I don't think that's going to be enough. No way to get out of this situation. The mace on his head. A double kill now for the Mordekaiser. Danny Phantom continuing to try to put his team on his back.
Super nice counter gank by the Elise, knowing that you were going to attract attention by that Mordekaiser. And Mordekaiser 4-0, 60 CS, just really crushing that Shen. I will say, I even like Talon. He saw that he saw that his pink ward on the top side of mid was being taken by the Set and the Lucian, and he rotated into the jungle because he knew that that was free. But I don't know why he didn't rotate for a bot gank. There's nothing better in terms of surprise than coming out of the opponent's jungle for a gank. So he could have roamed bot side. I think the timing was right. Maybe he just didn't see it. As it is, Set is rotating around, and Missing Link is pushed pretty deep. Here we go.
There's the flash and the Glacial Fissure. Missing Link, again, no summoners to get out of this one. I think Rare Candy just going to have to leave his AD carry out to dry. Mana Manrox, nice damage actually coming through. Missing Link is standing and fighting. The auto attacks are not blocked by the Braum shield. That is one part of Senna. She doesn't actually auto attack. They are not projectiles. Stolen has finally arrived to this fight. Mana Manrox did go down 2 versus 2. Nobody's doing a whole lot of damage right now. Looks like gentleman's agreement. Everyone going to back themselves away, but the mid laners have potentially arrived on the scene. Talon backing himself away. Young Walrus, bit of a rake on the Dragon. They may look to start this up. I think the 2v2 is, or the 3v3 is stronger without both bot laners. This Cassiopeia a lot stronger than the Senna is at this point in the game. Dragon does go in favor of Holy Divers, evening up that score 1-1, as we will have the Cloud Rift.
They should fight this. They're 4v3.
They are looking to go in for that fight. Standing United on the back, though. It might not be 4v3 for a whole lot longer. Oh, it does complete, but Azodium does go down 1 versus 3. Professor Bard trying to buy a little bit of time. The captain for his team saying, I will be the sacrifice, and he is indeed just that. Speed boost able to get away from Young Walrus, who does fall 2 versus 3 on this chase until Stolen does arrive. Looks like they're going to back themselves away. A pretty even fight, but the Dragon goes in favor of HD.
Yeah, the Dragon in favor of Holy Divers, and was it 2 for 1? I think it was 2 for 1 on the back side of that. Mordekaiser had rotated down, and I just don't know that TDR wants to take a fight with the Shenel that gives you even numbers. Like, the whole point of using that Shenel is to give you numbers up in a battle and a surprise where the opponents think that, you know, they're in reasonable shape, and then all of a sudden you've got an extra man and you can turn it. But Mordekaiser was there. Holy Divers had kind of settled for just the Drake when I think they could have taken more. And then TDR engaged on them. That's like the best case scenario. They pick up 2 more kills. I think they're, you know, just firing on all cylinders. At this point, it's 1 dragon apiece. Mordekaiser's a monster. I do think that Talon could be doing a lot more. We're at 13 minutes in. Look
at that push. He just instantly clears the wave.
He's strong. He should be hunting. He should be hunting this bot lane.
Somewhere that's not mid. So far, his contribution to things that aren't mid include the red buff. And that's it. So, not great. He gets the blue buff now, too, but that's his own blue buff.
Yep.
That's not what you want to see. You want somebody else's. Go take things from other people. We don't condone that here, but we do condone it on the Rift. Of course, Herald dropped to the bot lane. 2 versus 3 for now. Mid laner's walking themselves down. Lee's going to be here at the same time. This could be a 4 versus 4 very shortly. As this Herald, I don't love this Herald usage. Not really getting anything with it except just those 2 plates.
I think this is an opportunity for Holy Divers to actually engage right here. They are much, much stronger at this point in the game with the Talon, and if like there's a bad rotation, they can definitely catch somebody out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They decide not to really go for any sort of aggression and just kind of continue farming it out. Talon, guess where? He's back in the mid lane. I think if he wants to stay in the mid lane, you got to just dive this tower or something with Stolen and Young Walrus against this Lucian. He's not that mobile, just has the 1 dash, no flash available. It looks like they're just being very passive for not a lot of a good reason, at least to my mind. Mana Manrox could be looking for a Petrifying Gaze on to Missing Link. Professor Bard is in the area, Hex Flash available. But it looks like that's going to get pulled off for now. Actually going behind. Missing Link is about to get Insect, I'm pretty sure, into the team with the Hex Flash behind. Is the flash in time? You got to flash over him immediately, but he's not going to be able to do so. That is the Showstopper flashing afterward. Actually working out pretty well for himself. Can they get themselves away from this situation? E goes down. W is still Dawning Shadow, just flipping this fight completely on its head. Missing Link has picked up a kill onto Professor Bard. They are going to continue forward as well. This is just the bot laners now. Missing Link taking a decent amount of damage from the Cassiopeia, who still has ultimate available. They need to be a bit careful of that one. Talon finally roaming themselves down. Spotted on a ward right now, but this could be the dive potentially coming through. Lucian's on the way. Young Walrus may have to call this off unless they want to go for the 3v3. Looks like they may want to do so. W goes down. Teleport going to be joining as well. That's Danny Phantom going to be here very, very shortly. Standing United on the back, not going to be able to complete. Lotus gets canceled out straight away. Mana Manrox now in all sorts of trouble. Teleport to the tower. It's got to be right now or never. Cassiopeia just going to be left out to dry. Has Petrifying Gaze, but you cannot outplay 4 people under a turret dive. They have to go reasonably soon, though. Professor Bard and Azodium are here. Young Walrus could just look for the kill onto somebody else. This is a very strange fight. Teleport now coming through. I don't think it's going to be enough. Only one member stunned up with that. The Cassiopeia is gone, but the tower dive does continue. Missing Link able to get themselves away. Danny Phantom into the death realm. Professor Bard now just trying to tank this up. Haymaker goes down. I don't think the shield's going to last long enough. That's the kill going over. Danny Phantom likely going to get shut down here in the end. They give the kill over to the Shen. Not the greatest target. Would have preferred it on the Lucian. Push coming through in the mid. Overall, a big win for Holy Divers. They expand the gold lead to 5K.
It is a big win, but it was super sloppy. I don't like Young Walrus. Here we go in the mid lane again.
We are just continuing the fights time and time again. Merlin Stolen going to use the flash over the wall. Better safe than sorry on that one, as I think we finally have reached a lull.
I mean, I feel like Young Walrus was just sitting there doing nothing for an incredible amount of time, and then he decided instead of going with the massively fed, 601 Mordekaiser at the time, he goes ahead and completes the dive with the other champs against the almost nearly defenseless Cassiopeia under turret. And Mordekaiser was able to get a ton of work done. He just needed a little backup, I think, in order to make that a clean ace. And Talon is just playing it super safe. And we're talking about Talon. Talon is not like the super safe champ. He's in and out and over, and he's got escapes, and, he mixes it up. He's got a full Duskblade completed at this point, along with the Serrated Dirk. He should be able to crush the Cassiopeia. He should, I think, be able to get a lot done against Professor Bard. He's only got 61 CS at this phase of the game, down 30 CS to his counterpart Stolen. We see Holy Divers picking up the Dragon, which I think is fine. They've got a 5K gold lead. They've got mid turret down. At this point, they just need to kind of work on other turrets. Here we go, mid.
Exhaust. I think you take that. I think maybe smart not to push the advantage, although it was a 3 versus 2, actually, so maybe just kidding about that one. Young Walrus does blow that summoner, though. He'll have a couple of minutes where he's able to go in for the one shot without the exhaust being available, and I think without exhaust, Azodium dies pretty much every time the Talon gets on him like that.
I agree. I think it's worth it to blow ult for exhaust, given the cooldowns, given the relative cooldowns. They're also rotating up, taking Herald, and I think they can probably go on the Shen or look to use that top side to kind of crack top side.
It's a lot of damage.
Talon is a...
Go ahead.
Talon is a monster farmer. He's picking up all of Elise's camp. He's got 130 CS, highest in the game. We just want to make sure he does something with it. Looks like a dive is being set up. 4-man on the bot side. We'll see what happens.
Missing Link walking away. He's saying, see you later, Rare Candy. I'm not defending this turret. You can do whatever you want. Herald dropped to the top. This push will be faster for the Holy Divers. I think it's just really important that Missing Link and Rare Candy don't get over eager trying to defend their turret. They give it up if they need to. The push in the top lane is faster. They haven't done so. I think this is a misplay. Oh, doesn't even block himself with the tower. Can the Unbreakable get in time? No, it can't. Missing Link goes down. Rare Candy trying to get himself away. Has the depth charge available. Sandy United on the back. Professor Bard's going to die, I think, unless he has Haymaker available. Does not. Rare Candy picking up that kill. That is not ideal. The Sandy United did get interrupted as well. Rare Candy is surviving for so long under this tower. The root goes down as well. The Dredge line, he's going for the full 1 versus 3 under this turret. Merlin, I don't think it's quite going to be enough, but he did survive for quite a long time. This charge may come through. Lucian, can he break it? Can manage to do so. That tower not going to take the hit from the Herald, but Talon is on the way. Young Walrus is looking for this. Will he get here in time? Parkouring over the wall. Where's the rake? Will it come through? Yes, it will. The flash rake over this wall. There's the ultimate as well. That's the double kill there for the Talon. Very nice play there by the Holy Divers, although I don't think that the Senna needed to go down.
That was the slowest Talon cleanup ever. I guess I'm used to seeing them on Moby boots before 18 minutes. Something that really lets them fly around the map and get to these ganks. Right now, he's just sitting on tier 1 boots. Lots of damage. He just needs to figure out where to apply it. This also probably results in tower. On the top side, Holy Divers got a ton of work done. They got 2 towers off of the Herald, and it looks like they're going to clear the last outer with this Talon. They are in commanding position. We're looking at a 6K gold lead, kind of spread nicely along the team. Good chunks of leads on the Talon and that Mordekaiser.
Indeed. Another nice double pull in the mid lane. Cassiopeia taking so much damage. Mana Manrox having to get himself away. A lot of members taking a lot of damage from TDR. Missing Link is really starting to hurt on the Senna. 2 items now completed. Doesn't even have that many souls coming through already. Only 50 extra range, and this is just going to be a scarier and scarier Senna as this game does continue. Stolen trying to go for the 1 versus 4. Brain finally kicks in, decides against that, but the mid lane inner turret going to go down.
I think he wanted to dash in, go for the snipe, and then jump up into the air and hope your team can save you. I don't even hate that kind of play. As it is, I don't know why they're not 5-manning mid. The health bars on TBR are super low, and it is a waste not to try and crack the inhibitor. It's worth spending 5 men to try and crack the inhibitor, which they still may be able to do, but it's a lot less certain 3v3 than it would have been 5v3.
Yeah, that push fizzled out rather quickly here. Professor Bard able to not get caught out by Stolen, who did walk themselves away. Going to see the 5-man in the bot lane instead. You can't hate this play either. It is standing gold on the map. Lotus has no chance to get away from this. If he even gets a kill here, I would be very, very surprised. We'll see where the Shadow Dash comes through. That's the repel a little bit early. Not a huge fan of this one. I think the tower dive men a little bit bungled, but it doesn't matter because you have 5 people against 1. Tower goes down. Everybody's just fine.
Look at this counterplay, though. You see the 5-man dive. You go ahead and know Baron's up at 20 minutes, and you take it, even though this is going to be the slowest Baron ever. Lucian going ahead and blowing ult on it right away, and we have Mordekaiser. I say Mordekaiser gets them all right here.
I think they will probably get the Baron and then lose the fight. That is my prediction. You heard it here first. We're into the Death Realm. Zodium taking so much damage. Baron goes over. That is 1 kill. Young Walrus, you got to stay and fight this. They're trying to go for the recall. I'm Professor Bard. I think it would have been better to get out with the buff, actually, on this one. Young Walrus doesn't have ultimate, so I didn't quite take that into account. Little bit of an extended trade here, but the Baron goes over. That's a nice bit of counterplay. They might lose their inhibitor turret for it, though, trading across the map here.
Yeah, I love the Baron. If you can't fight, you know, I think that was a really good call, and they did much better than I expected because the rest of Holy Divers didn't rotate up. This is, I think, also going to be killed.
Flash Shadow Dash. We're going in for the kill here, but Cocoon landing onto Mana Mamnox, able to get the Seraph Shield and the Stand United on his head. That's a massive shield from the Shen right next to him. Talon's over the wall, though. Young Walrus does have ultimate back available. They could look to go for this fight. Missing Link very aggressive with those Qs. He has a lot of damage. Young Walrus coming for it as well. 5 versus 3. I think a little bit too aggressive right now for Missing Link. You gotta get yourself out there, sir. Does he have flash? Yes, he does. Gonna be able to use that. Young Walrus going in. Exhaust not available. That's gonna be a Zodium burning down. One more tick should be enough. It is indeed unstoppable on the Talon right now. Holy Divers maintain their gold lead, but they still don't have that Baron.
Talon could have passed behind all 4 members of their team. And instead, he like walked around to join his team. That was, I think, a very easy, massive win. If he just passed behind the team, Talon loves to come in from the blind side. I don't know whether he's just not familiar or not thinking like an assassin, but assassins don't want to group and fight front to back. They want to get in and mix it up with the squishies on the backside if they can. And he had just an incredible opportunity there. I hope they go back and play back that fight and take a look at what was possible there. But it's a 7-1 Talon. There's no reason why he can't destroy the whole team when they're clumped up in a position like that. As it is, we are at a 7k gold lead, 3 dragons, so we're on Soul Point. And I think that Holy Divers can kind of just play this pretty safely and probably finish this out quite well. Dragon is not up for another 4 minutes, so at this point they just want to kind of push side lanes, maybe look for a pick or two when they can, pick up as many waves as they can, rotate back for that Dragon in 4 minutes. But really nicely played so far by Holy Divers. Still have mid tower up, still have top tower up, and the Mordekaiser is just super strong.
Ultimate blown, though, by Young Walrus there. So not going to have that up for a little while, but not a very long cooldown on Talon, just 50 seconds. So going to be back in just a very short amount of time. The push is still coming through against this Baron buff. Not really anything going to be gained, of course, by TDR. They are too far behind at this point to really go for any sort of a push with that. I think they just need to take some kind of a fight before this next Dragon, because you can't give away the soul and really expect to still win. A nice 1-3-1 going on right now, becoming more of a 4-1. We'll see where the movement comes in here. For the Holy Divers, I think just trying to go for a pick before they push any farther.
Right. I like a brush stack. I think Mordekaiser is super strong. I think Elise is actually weak in that top side on her own. It looks like they're going to try and get something done in the bot side where there's no turret, which obviously makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they may go for the fight. Into the Shroud. They seem very scared. Holy Divers playing very, very conservatively this game. I don't hate it, but at some point it becomes too scared, and you are allowing the other team to scale just a little bit. They do have the Senna. Do a little soul check on her. She is at, the chat is a little bit in the way, 70 souls, which is quite a lot of souls. Of course, 80 even better. Those double decades, even numbered decades are really the place to be if you want upgrades. on your abilities, and the range is what I actually am attempting to come to. So you get more range when you're at, 40, 60, 80, but for now, still a lot of damage in the tank. As you can see, I do like the slow push, just pushing in. They're just going to slowly break this inhibitor down, I would imagine, and then eventually fall back towards those objectives.
I feel like Talon can just dive on somebody on that bot side. They just, Talon's farming wolves right now. Is wolves really the play when you're trying to make this push happen?
Apparently.
You still got 2 minutes before Drake's up. You want that 1-3-1 or something kind of coordinated. Quite frankly, I think if Nautilus just goes in and Talon follows up, they'd be fine.
Well, we're going in some variety. Lotus has been taken to the death realm. Going to take some damage here. Dredgeline outside of that to go into the fight. This is going to be the full fight showstopper on the back, but it is only his own show that has been stopped. Rare Candy goes in with a depth charge, a triple knockout. This is a huge fight for Holy Divers. This is what was possible as they just ace cleanly. 5-0, the quadra kill. Merlin was calling for it for the last 5 minutes. Young Walrus finally gets something done. That's going to be game number 1 in favor of Holy Divers in this best of 3, the semifinals, Mythic River Group.
He was huge that game. Young Walrus was just huge, and I don't know, maybe I'm too aggressive with Assassins, but he picked his spots very carefully. And hey, 12k gold, 11-1-4. You can't really, say anything about the byline, but they were super strong. I felt like they really kind of took their time closing it out when they had that in the bag from an early start. Looking to the next game, this is a best of 3. TDR are not out of it yet. They just need to kind of revamp pick bans and figure out a different strategy. The Lucian mid 063 did not work. Need something different there. I don't know if it's a traditional mid laner or maybe, having your mid laner play mid and your ADC play ADC. That's probably an option for them in this next game. If you want to look at bans, Mordekaiser's tricky. He doesn't have like super strong lane counters, and I know he got an early kill and was a little bit stronger early than maybe he should have been if that invade had been handled better. But I think the Mordekaiser is potentially a valid ban. Talon, if you don't have anything to go against him, the Lucian did not do the work that you were hoping for, but Talon can be beat. He is not, going to wreck all phases of the game every time you let him in. I think there's a lot of different things that TDR can do differently, and I hope to see some in this next draft.
Yeah, I hope we do as well. A little bit of adaptation very clearly going to be needed. We'll find out what happens in that draft when we come back from a short break. Between the games, we'll set up for the draft game number 2. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with potentially the conclusion of this series. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Game number 2 coming your way between the Holy Divers and Team Death Realm here in the Piltover Group semifinals. Style Esports Season 4 playoffs coming your way. It's Merlin Mondays. I'm Yellow Carl alongside Merlin.
All right, here we go with the first game. Convincing win by Holy Divers on the back of their Mordekaiser and Talon with incredible strength in the solo lanes. Hopefully we see something mixed up in terms of picks and bans from Holy Divers. In the first round, they banned Pyke, Jinx, Trundle, and it looks like we do have adjustments. They have banned the Mordekaiser and the Shen, which I like, and left open the Talon, which I also like.
Ooh.
This unfortunately does give Holy Divers the Caitlyn, a monster early game, late game champ, which was a priority for them in the previous match. So we will not be seeing the Senna. This is a champ with a lot more kill pressure, a lot more agency, and I would say equivalent, if not better, scaling than a Senna, even with all those souls. So it'll be interesting to see what TDR come back with. It looks like they've gone for Jhin. What does that matchup look like?
I'm not sold on Jhin. I keep seeing him. I am really not a believer. If he gets to 5 items, he's pretty good, right? Because he kind of zooms around and you kind of get one shot and you feel really bad about it. But Jin's not great, folks. Don't play Jhin at home. Also, it's not good. Caitlyn will win this in lane. Jhin basically is a champion that if you play against him correctly, you're toast. And if you don't play against him right, he will seem broken. So hopefully, for the side of Holy Divers, they know how to play against us and they don't just run it down to him early and let him get ahead. Because if he gets ahead, he can be very annoying. He's more annoying than he is good, to my mind. Also, I do want to ask you: was the Jace banned in game number 1? As well, and I just missed it, or do we just have a random Jace ban?
I think we have a random Jace ban.
Interesting. That's not what I would have gone for personally. I like the Braum also with Caitlyn. This is actually quite a strong matchup. Into Morgana, somewhat more questionable, but eventually the Winter's Bite will break the Black Shield if you put enough points into it. If there's not points in it from the Morgana, and Caitlyn Braum is a really strong combo. If you get the stun, it's pretty easy. It's one of the champions that does the most stuns in lane by volume, and Caitlyn wants to put the cupcake down. That is by far Caitlyn's strongest ability, are the traps, and if you can guarantee those, very, very strong. I also like the Zac coming through. Holy Divers again with a very strong comp.
I like it. So Zac was a ban for TDR in the previous game, and this is Professor Bard a special. A stolen special, I believe. I've seen him run this Zac before. It is quite strong. Obviously, an incredible tank, going to require a lot of sustained damage to kind of get through him. It also requires that your team build mixed, a healthy amount of AP, which is satisfied by the Rise. I do like that, but a very strong ganking, tank, frontline, very different from their previous comp, where they went kind of a high damage pick comp. I don't really like the Braum, particularly with the Morgana. I almost feel like there are enchanter supports that would, heal and keep Kate fresh and allow her to kind of harass and maybe provide support under the tower. Braum obviously is picked because of his incredible CC kit and ability to pin people down, some of which is countered by the Morgana. So, I do like that aspect of TDR's draft. They pick the Morgana second before HD picks their support, and they're kind of counter picking the support before the support's chosen because they know he favors Thresh, Nautilus, Braum, those types of champions, and not an enchanter who maybe does better into Morgana. So I do think that that's smart that they took their whole bot side first. On the back side of the draft, we see some mid bans against Holy Divers, the Yasuo LeBlanc. And the set is gone, so we're falling back to Sejuani, which is TDR's, I think their second jungle preference, which I think makes a lot of sense. And here we're going to see the all-important solo lanes for Holy Divers. Let's see what they want to do. Lilia, interesting. That's likely a Lilia top. And they picked
both the new champs. That's fun.
So
go ahead.
I think Lilia is really strong, and I do think she's probably blindable, and if you don't have a lot of experience against her top side, it can be difficult to pin her down. I think something like a Maokai, something that has kind of point-click CC, could do quite well into her. We got the Urgot. I think that could be okay, but that's definitely going to be a challenging matchup. Lilia, I think, is pretty strong at the moment. On the other hand, Yone, against Rise, I actually don't love it. I think he does good into champs that have low wave clear, and will allow him to kind of reach top and bottom or scuttles really rapidly. But Ryze's wave clear once he gets tier and a little bit of mana going is not bad. Ryze also has like enough point click CC to be able to kind of pin him down a little bit. He doesn't have any big escapes, so it could be if Yone gets ahead, he could snowball, I think, pretty hard, but I don't feel like that's kind of a super easy matchup for him, given that he had the counter pick.
I think Yone will get ahead in this matchup. That seems to be what happens with Yone. Just generally, the only time I've seen him not get ahead, I think was on yesterday's stream, actually, against Renekton. I thought that was a very smart counter. Ryze has none of that early game power, unless it's a Ryze top against the Lilia and Urgot against the Yone. I think that could be an interesting matchup, but I think if it is Yone against Ryze, they're going to have a lot of trouble on the side of the Ryze. Yone, very strong. He's kind of sleeper strong early game, so a lot is made of his late game, but I think he has the potential to get very far ahead in that lane. I am not sold on the Lilia in the top lane or even in any solo lane. I don't think this champion is that strong. I know you said maybe you feel it's blind picked. I guess enlighten me with some knowledge about that. I haven't really seen it pop off that well. What are your thoughts?
I just feel like she's, incredibly mobile, got incredible movement speed, and does decent damage, good, reasonable gank setup. If she lands asleep at any phase of the at almost any phase of the game, it almost always spells disaster if you've got a little bit of backup. I feel like her CC shouldn't be too difficult to hit with Zac and Braum and Caitlyn. I feel like it's a good team fight comp. Yeah, I'm excited to see how it'll pan out. I can actually, she doesn't do a ton of damage on her own in early. I could feel like it could get kind of farmy. And I do think, but I don't know that Sejuani's going to be able to land a freeze against her top lane, and that is definitely a lane that she probably wants to try and gank along with mid. So yeah, I haven't cast a game with her in it yet. I don't think maybe at least not top lane. I think it'll be interesting to watch and see how that goes. I love Urgot as an individual champion. I
agree.
And I do agree in the mid late he might be effective against Yone, who needs to kind of get in deep in order to be effective. But I guess I kind of am interested in seeing the HD mid lane, and I think a lot of Holy Divers' strength is gonna hinge on that mid bot jungle synergy.
I agree. I think my least favorite thing about Yone or about Lilia is her ultimate. Just the fact that it's called Lilting Lullaby is really fun to try to say. So I think we really need to get better names from the balance team here on the champion design department. We need more castable names. That's what I would like to see. I do think it's a strong ultimate, very annoying as is the point. Obviously Yone's ult also seems very strong. In conjunction with the fact that he's allowed to just, go back to where it used to be, basically LeBlanc W, but on steroids. That come out with his ultimate, give him incredible dive onto this Ryze, onto this Jhin. I would be stunned if Jhin is surviving for even a couple of seconds in the late game. Once Young Wellness has a couple of items, it's essentially Talon, but with even more mobility in some ways.
I agree. I mean, I think he should be looking to jam lane and roam bot like all game long. And I actually felt like that was a good strategy for the Talon, and it never really materialized. But Zac is going to be focusing, I think he's going to be focusing bot. Whereas in the previous game, Elise spent a lot of time working with that Mordekaiser to put that Shen in a bad position, and it worked. But I think this game, Caitlyn is a big win condition in a way Senna maybe really isn't. So I think that spending more jungle attention on those Drakes, on that bot lane, is going to provide dividends. Yeah, I can't wait to get into it. I'm a big fan of Caitlyn as a champ. I know she's hated by many, but I think that this one should be good.
I love Caitlyn. I think Caitlyn is incredibly, incredibly fun. One of my mains. I do play AD carry, so I am excited every time I see Caitlyn. I think she's incredibly strong. If the combos are done right, if the understanding of the traps is there, I think this bot lane should be winning for Missing Link and Rare Candy. I know you have those concerns with the Black Shield, but it's surprisingly difficult sometimes to get the Black Shield down, before the Q goes off. And even if it is able to block that stun, the auto attack still proc that passive. And so if you're actually in a scrum, Braum going forward, he can, jump to a creep, auto one target, and then Q the other one. You have stacks on both of them. One of them will get stunned. And so there's a lot of ways you can proc that even without, even with the Morgana Black Shield, I should say, being there. So I think there's potential for Missing Link and Rare Candy to find advantages in this lane. That being said, if the binds are landing from Speed Boost, you can land the W coming through from Jin, Deadly Flourish for the root. You can get some damage back. So I think it's a lane that could go either way, but for me is favored for the Caitlyn Braum.
I totally agree. I think the Caitlyn Braum, I mean, they're going to have the push. I think they harass well under turret. And yeah, if the Caitlyn is skillful enough, I think they definitely have kill pressure. I mean, Black Shield just provides, magic damage and prevents CC. It doesn't prevent you from taking headshots to the face over and over again in lane. And there's no sustain on the part of Jin Morgana. So whatever little lifesteal they've got, and Morgana has a little bit of Spellvamp passive, but they're going to be hurting. They're not going to be able to keep up. You just want to see if you can get them low and have Braum land a combo, or get them low and have Zac gank or counter gank. But yeah, the early Drakes in the previous game we thought were maybe not going to be theirs. In this game, they should have enough priority to really get those early Drakes and put a lot of pressure on the map.
Early dragons, of course, are very important. We didn't really see the soul be a huge win condition in the last game. It was that Cloud Soul not really seen, as super important unless you have some champions that synergize with it that well. I think the champions this game synergize okay. More so on the side of the Holy Divers, the Zac, the Yone, especially very, very strong. Lilia, anytime she can get more movement speed, I think she will take it. So I think, depending on what the soul is, it could be important. I would like to see the priority. There was kind of priority on it last game. It just didn't really matter because the game ended before we saw 5 dragons come through because the first 2 were split. So that could have some more impact in this game. We'll have to find out once we're on to the Rift, which we will be in a couple minutes. We're going to step aside as we load on to the Rift for game number 2. Don't touch that dial. Style Esports returns in just a couple of minutes. Welcome on to Summoner's Rift, everybody. Game number 2 coming your way. Holy Divers up 1-0 against Team Death Realm. Team Death Realm on the red side. Holy Divers on the blue side. Might see some more level 1 shenanigans. Pings are going down. Jarl Carl alongside Merlin for Merlin Mondays.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We did see some pings like Holy Divers was going to invade, but then they split up, and it looks like they wussed out and went into a standard 5-point, despite the fact that they have Braum, Kate, Yone. You know, early wards are interesting. Morgana burned one of her wards on blue buff as a defensive ward. And I feel like if you just 5-point, you don't need to burn that ward. And quite frankly, like in the early game, every ward matters. If you drop your mid lane ward, that means you're vulnerable to the 3-minute gank and you don't have that second ward up in time. So I really think that, you know, defensive wards that don't give you any information are, you know, a little bit suspect.
I agree. I think, you know, you don't need to drop that ward there, I don't think. At least if you're going to drop it right now. Right, you're going to get a little bit more time on that one. You're not losing that much cooldown because of the double charge system on the warding totem. And, you know, I'm just not sold on this ward. It's not going to do anything for them. I mean, I guess they'll know that there was no late invade coming through, but is that really that much information? I don't really think so. I think you're going to want that vision for this lane because Zach's ganks are quite strong.
They are. So interestingly, we have Zach starting bot side and Sejuani starting top. Theoretically, they're going to path to opposite sides of the map. And I think that's a little strange because I kind of wanted Zach to put some pressure on this bot lane. Maybe they just know that this is going to be such a pushing lane that there's no point in really trying to get a lot done. But as it is, it looks like the junglers will be on different sides of the map, and we'll see what the lanes look like. But Sejuani might be able to put some pressure on the bot lane, and Zach may try and help out that Lilia, which I don't think is ideal, but we'll just have to see how that pans out.
Indeed. We'll have to figure that one out. Young Walrus being pressured back a little bit here. Dodges the Q. That was a nice dodge. Saved himself probably 100 HP on that one. Young Walrus trying to farm up. Has level 2, so I think he's going to be just fine in this lane. Likely going for some trades relatively shortly against this Rise before that first back comes through for the tier. A little bit more damage will come with that for Azodium, but a little bit more passive early game than we saw last game. Obviously, that makes sense. We did see 3 kills going over at level 1 in that lesson. Danny Phantom, actually, as I say that, taking half his health and damage from Lotus, goes back in, runs around in weird circles like only Lilia can. Some damage traded across the map.
Looks like we had a little ineffective gank mid by the Zach, transition ganking before he goes to his top side, while Sejuani has worked her way behind the Caitlyn Braum.
But there's a ward that they don't seem to notice. They finally see. She's pretty low, actually. This can go pretty badly. 90 caliber net. Oh, there's no traps available for Missing Link. Only level 2, as basically nothing happens with either of those first ganks.
Yeah, I don't understand why Caitlyn and Braum aren't pushing. They've got like a classic strong push lane. Why not hit level 2 and try and make something happen? Why not push them under the turret and try and get some damage down? As it is, they're just letting it freeze outside turret range and turning what should be like a dominant lane into a bit of a farm fest. I mean, a 5 CS lead, I feel like Kate Braum into Jhin Morgana, you're looking for more than 5 CS lead. You're looking for pressure, kills, you're looking to force bad backs, things along those lines.
Yeah. Potentially. I don't hate the play thus far just because you can still go for kills. It's harder to go for kills if you're under the turret. And so they're not really frozen here. They're just kind of slowly pushing in. They don't seem like they really know what they're trying to do. They haven't really been looking for fights either. I do agree about level 2. I would like to see that try to come through, as I always do. I'm a level 2 fanatic, basically, in the bot lane. If you have watched Style enough, you'll know that I do enjoy talking about level 2 power spikes in the bot lane. But they're just kind of farming it out for now. I don't think this is that awful. They do kind of outscale. Are getting ganked right now. This could go kind of badly. And they will see the Sejuani now. Rare Candy has flash. Nice job getting away from that. Gets hit by almost everything. Professor Bard could be in some trouble. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Lotus and Danny Phantom going at it. Nothing to be seen on this one. Actually, the Q, one more auto attack is going to be enough. Lotus just goes down. First blood in favor of Danny Phantom on the Lilia.
Yeah, that just looked like not knowing kit or damage because he died with flash, which I think is okay because if he flashes, it just goes flash for flash. But that one just looked like a flat out misplay from 200 health where you just maybe don't know the damages of the new champ.
Yeah, that didn't look great in any way, essentially. The bot lane, nice play getting themselves away, missing Link and Rare Candy. Very good job by Rare Candy, tanking up a lot of damage with the Unbreakable, blocking for his AD carry. No summoners even blown. I think they're still in a very good place. I think they may look to go for the BF sword into a recall. They have 1,300 gold right now. The teleport on Missing Link, we haven't talked about that right now. He needs to recall immediately if he wants to go for anything like that. I think they might just try to transition this into a dragon. Not going to quite use the teleport quite as proactively. But that will be the BF sword for Caitlyn as soon as she recalls and she can get herself back into the lane while maintaining tempo.
I mean, if you're going to TP back, you should at least blow all your mana. Caitlyn has very powerful spells, and I think that she's probably going to go back to lane and push this extra wave.
I think you push and recall here.
But I hope she, fires off some Qs and makes the back awkward or something.
There we go. There's the Q. Yeah, generally the theory right now, you want to push in this wave all the way into the turret, go for the reset, get the BF sword and allow it to push back to where it is right now, and then you teleport back in straight away, and you can shove the wave back into the turret while the Jhin is recalling. That's essentially the three-wave theory of how to deny. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, actually, Fate Sealed going in, Azodium in so much trouble. Ignite is ticking. Will he get taken down? Gotta pop the potion in time. Last tick, the thumbs up. That does not keep you alive. Young Walrus has found that kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, might be about to see a lullaby come through. He might be asleep, but he can still grind you up. Danny Phantom has been eaten up by Lotus.
Nice return kill by Urgot, showing that lane is not over despite the early death. Gets a little bit of something back. And here we have Caitlyn walking back to lane. I don't understand.
Doesn't have Rare Candy, though. Yeah, you don't. So the theory right now is that you don't recall the Braum. The Braum stays. You come back with the BF sword, Caitlyn. You're still wildly strong. Braum, what's he going to get on the reset? He's going to get some HP, right? That's no more damage. With the Caitlyn in lane, you have so much tempo. Jin's going to be able to go for the recall right now. And sure, if Missing Link gets killed, now he can go for the teleport back to lane and maintain the tempo that way, but they're not playing aggressively. You want to keep the Braum in the lane, teleport back with the Caitlyn, push the wave under the turret, and then force the Jhin and the Morgana into a bad reset. The way they're doing it right now doesn't achieve anything. Young Walrus has gotten himself out of that situation. Had to use the flash, however. They still actually have the push due to the gank from Stolen. So Stolen essentially doing what the Braum sticking around would have done right now, as the bad recall is forced from Mana Man Rocks and Speed Boost.
Yeah, I love Stolen's play. Sacrifice time and half his HP to keep the Jhin Morgana in lane. This is BF sword boot versus... Yeah, there's no happy ending here. This is incredibly bad. And it doesn't matter if you land your abilities. You just don't have the items. You don't have the strength.
Yeah.
Now they're just jamming it in under the turret, and this is going to be very, very rough.
Sejuani's topside as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see a decently sized CS lead expand from this. They have to take a reset at some point. You want to reset on the cannon wave. Let's check if that is one. Oh, it's not. So I think you actually let the recall go through right now if you're missing that. I don't like that ultimate, actually. Because you want them to basically the goal is to get them to take a bad reset, and they just did. You don't have mana for the Q right now. I think you want to Q the wave instead, get it under the turret, and then you can go for a second recall for yourself. 500 gold, it's not great. You can get a couple more items there. Danny Phantom escaping the Fear Beyond Death, potentially in the top lane. Yeah, gonna be just fine. I don't love this play. They're gonna get a couple plates. I think it's acceptable here. I just didn't love the ult.
No, I think it's good. The ult, pins the Morgana down, so Jin's gonna get back to wave. But without the Morgana to protect him, you actually can get a little bit of a Ras down. You can stay. You get a plate. I don't mind keeping the Morgana in lane so long as they try and put some pressure on. I guess they do get back to lane at the same time, and with no mana, they are forced to recall.
Yeah, you can do the teleport back there right now, and that will break the freeze. For Missing, he doesn't have a great buy. He can complete his boots or get a pickaxe actually, so the buy is fine for him, or he can teleport to the top side for this Herald. I think there's a lot of choices right now. I would love to see that teleport into the top side. Stolen going in, stretching strike onto multiple members. The 3 versus 3 Fate Sealed going across. Drowsy down, lilting lullaby. Double kill picked up there for Danny Phantom. Azodium, no way to get out of this pit except for the flash. He's going to have to be burning that one relatively soon. Flash over the wall too late. The red buff could burn him down. The potion ticking going to be enough, but the Herald also goes in favor of Holy Divers. They're coming up huge.
Yep, that was a good 3v3. I don't know... at that point, there's a lot to say for strong mechanical prowess, target selection. But that was, I think, a pretty even fight that Holy Divers came out on top of, at least even kind of going in. As it is, with Herald picked up, they're going to crack down on this mid tower. I don't know if they'll be able to take it necessarily. Oh, yeah, it looks like they will, which will be first tower.
Yeah, it's slow, but they'll get it.
So this is huge. This really unlocks Yone's mobility on the map. He can now jam a wave past mid-turret and then kind of stretch down to that bot side. I will say, Rare Candy has missed a lot of Qs on that Braum. He has not
W's.
been
Oh.
W's.
Oh, nope, excuse. I was looking at Jin and I thought you said Jin and lost my mind. So we're good. Back to your point.
Yeah, so you know, that I don't feel like that's that hard a skill to hit, but he has unfortunately not been landing them. Hopefully, we can see him kind of come through when it's important. Here we see Sejuani making her way down to bot lane, but it's well warded. It's difficult to kind of get in there. If Yone was sharp right now and saw where everything's happening, he could start this rotation early.
Walking down, speed boost, away with 3 stacks of that passive. Professor Bard has spent a lot of time in the spot lane this game with basically no success. Hasn't even burned a summoner thus far. Missing Link gonna have to flash though. Great flash away, really committing to that summoner usage. A lot of people don't do that. That was beautifully done by him. Professor Bard gonna now be on the cupcake. Gonna take a lot of damage, actually misplaced. That does not go down. This is gonna be a 5 versus 5 situation in the bot lane. Both top laners are TPing to this situation as Odium gets himself away with the Realm Warp as it's 5v5, but it looks like at least for now, nobody's gonna go down. The Dragon on the map.
Yeah, I think nicely played by that Kate. That flash, not only dodging Sejuani, but also the Morgana and positioning. And a lot of ADCs, a lot of players in general, just kind of panic when they're in a bad state like that. But what you really want to do is flash the minimum amount of distance and then keep attacking. And that's what she did. She didn't attack, like flash away and then run to turret. She flashed away and then autoed the Sejuani. Got her down to 300 health or so, which was enough to ensure that there was like no chance for them to compete for second Drake. So big win. Missing Link earlier banned out on the Kate, and now we see why. This is legit. So far, a very strong game on the Kate. And right now working on the turret.
Ooh. Yeah, it's a huge amount of damage. That not the greatest of combos. A little bit not clean in the bot lane. We're going to move up to the top, though. Little thing Lullaby went down. Lotus taking some damage. One more auto attack should be enough. There's the stun. Not going to be enough. Fear Beyond Death unable to come through. Professor Bard actually missed by the bowling ball coming through on that one. Danny Phantom just kind of dies under the turret. That was slightly ungood on that situation, 1-for-1.
I think that was definitely a little bit of running it down. I don't know. She clearly went in with the intent to take turret aggro, but then there wasn't enough follow-up for there to be enough damage to kill. So I don't know if that was miscommunication between Young Walrus and Danny Phantom, but you do not take turret aggro with 300 health unless you're sure your mid lane is going to kind of come in with the rest of the damage. As it is, even though they're down a man on the map, they've got things, they're taking turrets, they're still doing damage. I say they get bot lane right here, most likely.
I don't think they'll take the tower. I think the plates are too strong, but they're a ton of pressure here. They're denying a lot of CS. It'll be the IE as well to come through. IE plus boots likely for a Missing Link. IE completed though for Mana Man Rock, so definitely staying close to this Caitlyn, at least in power for now.
I don't know why they're not harassing that Morgana under turret. I think there are opportunities to get autos. I guess they're just looking for the tower at this point. This
Caitlyn,
is actually a
no
really,
mana though.
this is a really dangerous spot for them with Sejuani coming in for the gank.
They're okay. I think they can just go for the reset now. They should be okay.
Right. Yeah, nice game so far by the Holy Dollyverse. They've got 2 men up top. They have swapped their mid laner and top laner. Yone definitely going to take turrets faster than the Lilia.
Indeed. In the mid lane, though, Danny Phantom. Lilia's not going to be doing a whole lot if she's in the Death Chamber, that's for sure. Able to get herself away. Fear Beyond Death and the ultimate from Sejuani. Invested in that play. The flash, though, burned by the Lilia to get herself away.
Yeah, but it's fine, and they're losing waves topside. You know, they're just stretching this gold lead out. If they get out of here clean, here we go.
Not entirely sure they're going to be getting out of here clean on this one, Merlin, but 2 versus 3. Nobody really to help them. I think they're going to just sacrifice Stolen. Actually, let's bounce from the flash away. They're going to try to contest for this teleport coming through. It's missing, like the AD carry has arrived on the scene, but Stolen, nothing left to do. Professor Bard going to go down. Young Walrus zooming back out of the fight. Missing Link now the frontliner on that one. Tables turning on that team fight orientation. Missing Link, a nice teleport actually, able to contest for this tower a little bit. Double headshot going across, but Rare Candy. Now some supportal combat going on in the bot lane.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Caitlyn ended up TPing to the top. I think she's actually still vulnerable. We're still talking about an Urgot here, who does, you know, mush ADCs and squishies quite well, but they didn't think that the opportunity was there. Yone and Kate will go in and finish top turret, while Lilia has rotated down with Braum to put a little bit more pressure on that bot turret, which is the only outer turret standing. Also, with that the Herald charge from that first Herald that they got, the mid inner has also now gone down. So just an immense amount of gold from that standing gold taken by Holy Divers. And we see another gank by Sejuani, just not being successful just because of the simple wards. You either have to stay there and camp or come from a different angle or lane or something, but Sejuani has not been able to make it happen. Down 15 CS to the Zac at this point, and really down massively in terms of pressure and game impact.
Honestly, also just a very, very clean macro game thus far by the Holy Divers. They are up 6,500 gold while being up 6 kills to 2. You know, on its face, this game doesn't look like it's that bad. I think from the player's perspective, it probably doesn't look like they're that far behind for TDR, but they are massively far behind at 15 minutes. About to get a little bit closer, I do feel. Rare Candy should be able to escape, or not escape, I should say. Likely going to be going down, jumping himself away. Missing Link could be in some trouble as well. Nice flash from him again as Merlin, I don't know what's going on. Everybody's fine.
Yeah, except for I don't think TDR is fine anymore.
That is fair enough. Lilting Lullaby going to be black shielded away, but Young Walrus is here. Fate sealed. It is just that. Azodium going down. 1 kill for HP.
Yeah, that gank looked fantastic. Professor Rare Candy was completely out of position, pinched between the Morgana and the Sejuani. CC layered on and Jin with an IE, but they just did not have the damage. And Rare Candy, I gotta say, great poise. The impulse in that scenario, I think, is often to just burn Flash right away rather than burning Flash strategically. But he kind of hung in there. He popped his shield. He jumped to Caitlyn. And only when he felt like he was really going to die, but also really when he knew he could get to a safe location, did he burn his Flash. So I think Bravo, that bot lane, played it really well despite getting in a sticky situation to start with. And we're just seeing that the strength of Holy Divers at this point. We've got Young Walrus on this Yone at 7,700 gold compared to the Rise at 4,700 gold. You know, part of that is the CS, just 15, but a huge amount of that is the Drakes, the towers, just the amount of map control and plates that these guys have been able to take over the course of the game so far. And kind of across the board, we're seeing kind of gold differentials. Maybe not as dramatic as that 3,000 in the mid lane, but significant gold differentials at in all positions. At this point, what would it take for TDR to come back in this? I think they've just got to kind of really ward up and pinch lanes that are overextended. Right now, you've got Kate kind of pushing on her own with no Braum. Could you have gotten Sejuani in position? But it looks like even though they've got a 2v1 advantage in terms of numbers for a minute, they are just not willing to go in on her.
Nice root, 90 caliber net. That's a lot of damage. That's why you don't really want to go in on the Caitlyn. As the Guardian eats the ace in the hole. Azodia might come in for this one. Realm Warp not available, though. He is spotted out. Classic slingshot on towards him. Missing Link actually gets hit by another Dark Binding. That's a little bit unfortunate. Tower going to go down, though. A couple more autos from that. It does fall. Young Walrus has arrived. Ultimate goes a little bit wide from Sejuani. Last slingshot in. They're going to go for the engage. Missing Link going to have to be shielded away from the curtain call, though. That is the Fate Seal going in. Young Walrus trying to go huge on a rampage now. Stolen goes into the Cell Division. He's going to be just fine from that passive. Rise has already fallen. This fight is looking great for HD thus far. Teleport coming in. It's going to be Danny Phantom arriving a little bit late to that scene. But Holy Divers, they're going to peel off with their 1 kill and go home feeling happy.
Yeah, I don't know that late TP was really necessary. I think it was a great engage by Young Walrus to pick up the kill on the Rise, who, you know, just has Rod completed with 5 stacks, but isn't really relevant in the game compared to a Phantom Dancer Infinity Edge Yone at this point. Caitlyn was a little sloppy in that siege and took a ton of damage, but they really have no way to finish it off. Speed Boost was able to get some good CC on her, some binds and land damage even after she was low, but there was just no follow-up. If you look at TDR, they're kind of front to back. They don't have anybody really big who's going to flank. There's no Echo, there's no Zed, there's no Assassins. And it's really hard to front to back when you're behind. That Zac doesn't die easy. Caitlyn's dishing out a ton of damage to the Sejuani. She's going to be relevant with her current items and farm, I think, and just kind of the passive gold she's accumulated, whereas Yone can kind of get in anywhere, really, and go for assassinations. We've got Baron up in 10 seconds. The They're on Dragon Soul. Holy Divers is on Dragon Soul.
Missing Link is way out of position, Merlin. I don't want to cut you off, but he is. If he escapes from this situation, it would basically be a miracle. I don't think Rare Candy is going to be here anywhere close to in time. The shutdown goes over. Not that much gold actually, because Caitlyn's kind of just been farming it up. But Urgot picked up 1 kill.
Still a good turn. Like that's the kind of thing you need to do to get back into the game. You just need to do it over and over again. So hopefully TDR can kind of continue to make those plays happen.
Sleep goes down though on Professor Bard. This might be a little bit over eager. I may feel Young Walrus maybe going to go into the base. Decides to go back. Not going to find anything. Missing Link up in a couple of seconds. Teleport's available as well if Holy D wants to go for anything.
Yeah, I think given that you just got picked and your Caitlyn just respawned. Oh, it looks like they're going to go for Baron.
Yeah, you can just go for the Baron off this. They kind of fell back to it. It doesn't seem like something they could do immediately just because they, just died on the Caitlyn, but she has the teleport. Remember, the first actual use of the teleport, this is completely uncontested. I don't even know if they know it's happening, but Baron goes over in favor of Holy Divers.
Now they just need to walk down, take Drake. That gives them soul, and it should be very, very difficult for TDR to come back from that.
One would hope. This is basically not a comebackable game. I mean, sure, if you can get picks over and over again, win some random team fight, but you're so far behind. It's going to take more than what is realistically possible in a game here. Young Walrus going in. That's going to be the kill 1, and that's 2 straight away. Speed boost and Professor Bard going to be taking a speed boost to the Death Chamber for themselves here. Zodium flashing over the wall. Young Walrus not to follow with the flash of his own, but he does have some more dashes in the kit. Elastic Slingshot as well. Lotus getting away. That's the flash forward from Stolen. Let's bounce on top. And Young Walrus zooming himself away. Jin has died as well. Mana Man Rocks going down. Zodium, the only member left alive for his team. Elastic Slingshot to get out of the base. The Baron push is coming through. They don't even want that soul. They just want the base.
Yeah, I think it's fine. They're just so far ahead, but they might even be able to finish. But it always makes sense to take an inhibitor first and then fall back to soul. When you're thinking about objectives, you want to put pressure on the map first and then kind of fall back to dragons or barons. If you can take turrets or inhibitors, that's the top priority, so long as it does not prevent you from safely taking Drake and Baron, things like that. So I like the order. They're still playing super sharp, and the gold lead at this point is 9k at 22 minutes. We've got a 604 Yone. Young Walrus got to be the MVP of the series, having huge impacts on Yone and Talon, those AD mid laners. And we now have Dragon Soul for Holy Divers to go with, and it looks like they're going to take a 3v3 at this point, which could
Professor Bard, yeah, going to be going down very shortly. Headshot, that's the kill. Missing Link picking up that one. Push could continue here. Yone and Lilia both in the base, but they have that ocean, or the Cloud Soul, I should say, zooming themselves across the map very, very rapidly. They can join their team in not a whole lot of time if they want to continue the push. And it looks like they do. 1 more minute of Baron buff. I think pushing the mid lane right now is the place to go. Break open that inhibitor, try to find a fight, and try to end the game here before that Baron buff goes away. Although that being said, they don't need to be in any sort of a rush as they are wildly far ahead.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, that the wave clear on the part of TDR is not that good. So they're actually, dealing with the super minions boss side is not a trivial exercise for them.
Missing Link, netting himself into the base. A little bit aggressive, but I think he can afford to be that way right now. Likely we're going to see one final 5v5, Merlin, before, and that is just the engage straight away. Mana Mamnock's taking so much damage. Young Walrus is out there. Lilting Lullaby goes across the team. Multiple members are now asleep. Danny Phantom just running rampant through the team, finally getting killed by the Obelisk. The grind up kill comes through from Death from below. Fear Beyond Death, I should say. This is definitely not a plague. It is certainly an Urgot. Missing Link actually the only champion left alive. Cell Division as well. Missing Link, can he go for the 1 versus 3? He should be able to. I do feel Ace in the hole picks up 1 kill. There's Baron minions onto the Nexus as well. Can this Caitlyn carry his team to victory? I think he can. Goes for the fight instead. I think he could just shoot the Nexus. The Winions are winning it as well. The triple kill. Is he going to have time for the Quadra before the game ends? Is the net available? Piltover Peacemaker goes through. Where is the final shot on the Nexus? Missing Link enjoying his victory. Finally goes for it. Holy Divers, congratulations. They advance 2-0 to the finals in the Piltover group.
Thank you, Holy Divers. That was my first bet in Style Esports, and I'm super psyched to have netted those 500 style points. GG. Excellent game across the board. I've enjoyed playing against you guys in past seasons, you did not disappoint. This was an excellent game. I hope I get to catch the finals of the Piltover group, but you guys definitely deserve that slot.
They do. I think that is very fair to say. Holy Divers will be up against the winner of Gomi Clash Gang versus RGM, which will hopefully be coming up in the next couple of days. So find out more about the schedule in a few days. The semifinals end on Wednesday, and then we will have finals Thursday through Monday. So we'll be back with one more finals game next Monday, actually, on the next Merlin Mondays edition. So be sure to check that out. Should be a good one. But yeah, a nice series there by Holy Divers. Definitely looking like the team to be afraid of.
Absolutely. In the first game, they kind of carried through that Mordekaiser and the Talon, and despite those champions not being in the pool bans, different play sets, they put their team on an entirely different set of carry champs: Zach, Lilia, Caitlyn, Yone, and still won decisively. Still won with all 3 of their outer turrets up, not missing a single Drake or Herald. Just a really well played game.
Yeah, indeed. Not too much more to be said about that one. Holy Divers advance to the finals in the Piltover group. Team Death Realm, unfortunately, are eliminated from the playoffs. Condolences to them. We'll be back with another semi-final for you tomorrow. It's going to be the Shadow Mustangs game. That's the team of our lovely producer, Ewok, and our fantastic Merlin Mondays caster, Merlin. You want to give us a little bit of a preview for that series, Merlin?
So this should be an incredible match against Imperium. Imperium beat us 2-0 decisively. I had some terrible Vygar games, just getting kicked around by Lee Sin and Orianna.
Oh, I remember that. I cast that game, actually.
You cast that game. It was a disaster. But we did come back last week and 2-0'd them with a strong first match on the back of my Malzahar, and a second game that went really, really long but did turn in our favor. So this is anyone's match. Kakari and I have played against each other in different leagues for a couple seasons. There's a lot of respect, and I'm really looking forward to the match. I hope you guys join us tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Should be a fantastic match.
Indeed. Like you just said, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Shadow Mustangs Unleashed versus Imperium Academy in the Demacia Group semifinals. It should be a good time. I am very much looking forward to it. I hope you will join us then. Like my friendly co-caster just said, thank you, Merlin, for that little bit of a preview. If you want to learn more about Style Esports in general, you can do so at the Discord link below the stream. You can chat with the players, chat with the casters, look to join a team if you think you have what it takes to style along with us, if you'll pardon the pun. You can also find our website, our YouTube, our Twitter, and our music credits below the stream as well if you're interested in those. But that being said, I think that's going to be all for us tonight. We hope to see you tomorrow. On behalf of myself, Merlin, and Ewok, thank you all so much for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Good night.